everyone. This is Steve Marinucci, and I am thrilled beyond belief to welcome a broadcast legend, Johnny Holliday. Johnny, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be with you, Steve.
We're here to talk basically about the Candlestick concert.
Yeah, Gene Nelson and I have seen the last concert.
We're here to talk about that. He also has other broadcast credits that are really fun to know about. And when I was researching this last night, I remember that you actually worked with my San Francisco Giants
Yeah, I did the pregame show on television,
on KTVU Channel 2.
ATVU Channel 2.
Okay.
While I was in San Francisco, I did the Giants pregame on TV. I did the Warriors exhibition games on television. I was the Oakland Raiders public address announcer. I was the San Francisco Warriors public address announcer. And Rick Barry and I did Cal basketball on Saturday nights. The year he jumped leagues from the NBA to the ABA, and the year he sat out. And he also played in my KYA Radio Wonders charity basketball
Right.
team, which
Right.
we lose a lot of games with Rick Barry playing. I
Yeah.
think the one year he played, we were 59-1.
Yeah. I read about that last night and I was like, wow. I mean, and you're also in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
Right.
in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and the
San Francisco
San
Radio
Francisco
Hall of Fame.
and the Washington, D.C. Sports Hall of Fame.
The total of, I think I'm in 8 Hall of Fames now.
And you also have, and everybody should go out and get this, you also have an autobiography published in 2002 called
Mhm.
From Rock to Jock, which
Right.
you didn't mention it when we talked on the phone a couple of weeks ago, but it's got a Kindle version. I'm a Kindle freak, and I love that. But
Thank
anyway,
you.
we're here to talk about your career with the Beatles and in Top 40. You started out at WBBN in Florida. You worked in Rochester, New York, and in Cleveland. You worked with the great Murray the K at WINS, and you hosted the station's last music broadcast before they switched to all news in '65. And one thing about Murray the K that I've always wondered, and that's actually more of a general question, because you also had contact with other rock and roll groups when you were in San Francisco. I often wondered if Murray's relationship with the Beatles was more hype than anything else, or was it real?
No, it was real. It was real. He was very, very tight with the guys. And my first day on the air in New York on 1010 Wins, Murray was in Miami Beach with the Beatles. So I did my show and I did his show at night. And he had the guys call in. He called in during his show. So he puts all 4 guys are on the air with me that night on 1010
Hmm.
Wins. And then when they came back to New York, he had them come by the radio station and cut promos for all of us. This is Paul McCartney. You're listening to Johnny Holliday on 1010 Wins. And it chance, Johnny, you might be able to play a middle song for us. One of those type things. And it was great the way that he connected with them and got them to do things probably no other disc jockey could do. They respected him. They loved his ear for music, number one, because he really knew songs. He knew hit after hit. He was very tight with all the Motown people, with the Ronettes and Ronnie Spector and Phil Spector and all those people. He was a giant, probably the most impressive guy in the music business the time that I worked with him. But he also came to Washington and worked with us in the same station I was on after he left New York. Yeah, he was a wonderful guy, and the connection. He called himself the fifth Beatle, and
Right.
they gave him that name. Murray's the fifth Beatle, so it stuck with him.
Okay.
He loved it, absolutely loved it.
Because I remember seeing the press conference, and one of the photographers or somebody said Murray made a comment about him.
Oh,
Uh, if you look at the film, somebody actually said, Murray cut that crap out or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I thought that was kind of hilarious that they
yeah,
did. But then, so after you worked with Murray, that's when you went to San Francisco, correct?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And how long were you there before the Beatles came?
I came out in April of 1965.
Hmm.
About just like a week after the station in New York switched to all news. And so I came back and I did 2 to 6 in the afternoon. Tom Donahue was still on the station at that time. He was on after me. Then he left to go into KMPX, I guess it was, and to work more with the record company that he was with. And we had Jim Washburn, we had Gene Nelson, we had Tommy Saunders, we had Russ the Moose Syracuse, we had Ed Hyder, Mike Clary, Sean O'Callahan, Larry Mitchell. We had some wonderful, wonderful, talented people. And I got there in April of 1965, and then I came to Washington with KYE's sister station, WWDC here in Washington, in November of 1969. So I was in San Francisco almost 5 years.
Bringing up WWDC, you also knew Carol James,
Yeah,
who had
yeah.
a
And he emceed the
very,
Beatles concert here in Washington. He played the
and
first Beatles song.
he
Yeah,
was the first one to play "I Want to Hold
yeah.
Your Hand" on the radio and
I,
start.
I took his place
Oh,
on
did you?
WWDC. My first day on the air, the first phone call I got was from Carol James. And he
Okay.
said, Johnny, I'm Carol James. They got rid of me, and you're taking my spot. I want to wish you all the best. Washington's a great city, and I'll be listening, and good luck to you. Very, very nice guy. We got to
Okay.
be very good friends after that.
So you're out at Candlestick Park that night, and there is a tape, by the way. You've heard the tape, I would assume, of the show that was made from that night. And Paul says it's really cold out here. How cold was it? Because I've been to Candlestick at night, back in those days, and I know how cold.
I'm guessing because it was a cloudy, windy, miserable night,
Ooh,
probably between 55 and 60, maybe.
maybe.
A lot of wind, a lot of fog. It was very unconcert-like, put it that way. And the
And
speakers, the sound was going out into San Francisco Bay because of the winds.
oh wow,
So the speakers were taking all the sound, and it wasn't sold out. I think they had maybe 25,000 people, and Candlestick, I think, sat maybe 42, something like that. Wasn't sold out. Tickets were, I tell people about the tickets, 450, 550, and 650.
your uh,
Watch
your
the
your
Beatles.
your book said 5, 6, and 7.
Well, we sold them at KYA for 650.
Oh,
And the
okay.
commercial I did for the Beatles coming to town, we mentioned tickets are available for 650.
Okay,
Pretty
okay.
cheap.
Yeah, that's very cheap, and it had
Yeah.
the Remains, Bobby Hebb, the Circle, and the Ronettes, and they were available by mail from KYA. You probably can say the address better than I can. Number one Nob Hill,
One Nob Hill Circle. Yeah.
San
San
Francisco.
Francisco.
And you cut promo spots for the Beatles' new sound system. What was that? What new sound system?
To this very day, I have no idea what it was.
Hmm.
It sounded just like any other sound system to me, except it was blowing out to the bay. So when they're talking about a new sound system, I couldn't tell the difference in what was Candlestick Park sound system and what was the Beatles sounds. It made no difference to me. It
Hmm.
it sounded exactly the same.
Amazing. And so you talked with them before they went on stage?
Yeah, Gene and I were back in the San Francisco Giants clubhouse, and we're sitting around talking like you and I are talking now, having sandwiches and cokes and snacks and stuff. And we were not impressed by these guys because they were just another act that was coming to San Francisco. But we had the Bo Brummels in San Francisco. We had the Jefferson Airplane. We had Sly Stone at the time. We had all these big acts in San Francisco, and they were just another one coming through. And nobody at that time, except them, knew this was going to be the last time they were going to perform together
Right.
as the group, the Beatles. Nobody knew that. We had no idea. They were just as nice, as down to earth. I think the guy that I really locked in the most with was Paul McCartney.
Really?
He just seemed like my kind of guy.
Hmm.
Ringo was kind of off the wall a little bit. I thought John was kind of serious. I thought George was maybe the second most serious. But I really liked Paul McCartney and still do to this very day.
Have you had any contact with him since?
No, no,
No.
no, no. I mean, there would be no reason for them to stay in contact with me
Right.
after they left San Francisco. It was really no big deal in our minds. Neither Gene and I took any pictures, and here we are sitting back in the clubhouse. Had we known it was their last time together, we would have been clicking away with individuals and collectively with all four guys, but we never knew that. And I really wasn't one to take a lot of pictures because of all the people that I had worked with in New York when I was the announcer for Hullabaloo on NBC. And we had all these major stars every single week would come on. And if I have 5 pictures from 2 years, that's a lot. I just wasn't into that kind of stuff at all.
You're bringing up Hullabaloo reminds me that Brian Epstein did a segment on Hullabaloo, and it was the first 12 shows, I believe.
Yeah,
You had some great acts. You had the Kinks, you had Freddie and the Dreamers, the Searchers, Peter and Gordon, who Peter had a tie with
Peter
Paul
Ash.
Peter Asher.
Yeah,
How did Shindig get the Beatles and not Hullabaloo? I often wondered that.
we had the Rolling
Really?
Stones. They were on
Okay.
this. And the Beatles never, you're right, the Beatles never made Hullabaloo. Why? I
Hmm.
don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, because you would have thought that the fact that Brian Epstein was with them, yeah, I mean, with
Yeah.
Hullabaloo would have given them an inroad to that, and it always
I
has.
think people forget the fact that they were never on the show. But we never had them. I don't know why. I was in the
I,
booking
I
agent.
I forgot you guys had the Rolling Stones. You guys had basically everybody. The one clip that I've seen a lot is the Birds. Were you there when the Birds were on? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I was there when Gary and Jerry Lewis emceed the show,
Ah,
and they did a Beatles song, Help. Go to YouTube, type
I've
in
I've
Hullabaloo with Jerry Lewis. It's probably the most god awful version of Help that you've ever heard, with the
I've
two
seen
guys trying to sing the song. It was not very good.
I've seen that clip. Yeah, you're right. It was not very good.
No,
You also mentioned that there were other groups that you had contact with in San Francisco in your career, and one you mentioned was the Monkees. You met the Monkees, and you mentioned in the book you mentioned Mike Nesmith, which is really interesting because I interviewed Mike Nesmith, and to this day it was amazing event because he and I talked for an hour and a half. Well,
yeah,
how would you describe him? He was very smart.
yeah. Well, when I was in San Francisco, they asked me if I wanted to go on tour with them.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
I was on tour with them. I came back east. We went to Detroit. We went to Cleveland. We went to Philadelphia. And I would call back to KYA every day and give a report of what we did the night before, who was on the show with them the night before, interview them, send the tapes back to KYA, and have the guys on the phone with either Russ Syracuse or Tommy Saunders or Gene Nelson or Ed Hyder. And of all the four guys, I like you, I locked in with Michael Nesmith. It just seemed like we could talk about anything. He was a little bit different. He wasn't overcome with, "Hey, we're big stars. We're the Monkees." He was more down to earth and more feet on the ground.
There
And
you go.
yeah, the kids were crazy about the Monkees, and Michael Nesmith never let it get to him. He was always kind of more sophisticated, I guess, would be the word to describe him of the four.
My conversation with him was very thoughtful.
Yeah,
And
I loved it.
in fact, one thing he said to me was because he had my phone number, he said one day I might call you again, and he never did, of course, but he offered to do that.
Well, I
He
asked
offered,
him one time, I think we're in Philadelphia,
go,
and so I said to him, we're just sitting around. I said, "How do you handle all this adulation from all these young people that are going nuts over you guys? I mean, you've got the whole country right here in the palm of your hands."
right.
I said, "I mean, look outside the hotel." And he says to me, "Maybe they know you're here." I said, "They're not here to see me, Michael." I mean, he was making fun of everything. He
Yeah.
said, I don't know what it's all about. He said, "It's mind boggling. We'll take it while we can. But there is a group called the Beatles that are pretty good too." I said, "Yeah, I understand that." I loved him.
Yeah.
Michael
I
passed away less than a year ago, didn't he?
No, it's been more than that now. It's been a couple of years. But yeah, I was lucky enough to talk to all four of them. The two interviews I had with Michael were just astounding.
Yeah, I agree.
That's, you've worked with Howard Cosell. Also, in the back of your book, I was blown away. I was going through the book last night. You had interviews with Joe DiMaggio, Willie Mays, tons of baseball Hall of Famers. Any one of those guys stick out in your mind?
I think DiMaggio. So when I came to DC, I did the Washington Senators pregame show on radio with
Hmm.
Ted Williams every day on our pregame show. So I had interviewed all these major stars when the opposition would come in town to play the Senators. So then when baseball left, we had the Old Timers Baseball Classic for 5, 6, 7 years,
Hmm.
and managers and broadcasters. So we carried the game on ABC radio coast to coast. And the play-by-play guys would be Mel Allen or Jack Brickhouse
Oh
or
my.
Harry Carey or all these legendary broadcasters. And my assignment was to do the pregame show, all the on-field interviews throughout the game, and the postgame. So my boss in New York says to me, and I was doing sports at ABC every single morning for 28 years. My boss says, we're going to open up the broadcast with you and Willie Mays and Joe DiMaggio. Whoa. Now I knew Willie from the San Francisco days.
Right.
DiMaggio, I said, how are we going to get DiMaggio? We'll have a producer go get him. So the producer, we had 8 minutes allotted for DiMaggio. I had already done Willie Mays. We did 8 minutes with him. So the producer comes back and the producer says, he will talk to you, but he's not coming out of the dugout. He's going to visit with all the Washington press people that he was friends with when he was playing. When he gets done, you can go down and talk to him. So I am in the presence of greatness in Joe DiMaggio. He's sitting there with a Yankee uniform on, number 5,
Mm.
back up against the dugout wall. I go down, it's a true story. And I almost wanted to say, hi, Mr. DiMaggio. I was so enthralled by this guy. I go down and he says, Joe DiMaggio. I said, Johnny Holliday. He said, how long is this going to take? That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say 8 minutes. I said, it won't be long. All right, let's go. So I say to him, are you in touch with Sal Bando? Joe says, do you know Sal? I said, I used to pitch batting practice to Sal Bando in Cleveland when I was a disc jockey. He was in high school. I became friends with his family, and Sal was all state football, basketball, and baseball. I said, when you were a coach for the Oakland A's and Sal was playing, I went down and saw his first game in Anaheim. I saw his first game in Oakland. He played in my charity basketball team, and I got him a job on my radio show in KYA doing sports in the morning in the off season to supplement his income.
Oh wow.
DiMaggio says, oh, now I know where I've heard your name. Johnny Holliday from San Francisco. I'm going, whoa. He said, I love the guy. Love. So we did about 12 minutes. He could not have been nicer. But if I don't have that hook of knowing Sal Bando and him, it'd have probably been a very tough interview. He was great. I mean, just tremendous. And each year we'd go back. Hi, John. I'd say, hey, Joe, how you? Oh my, he was great.
Your career, I wish we had time to go through all the things you did. I mean, you've done so many things and you're not retired, right?
No, this is
You're
my 47th year broadcasting Maryland, football and basketball.
what
And
made you leave top 40 to go to sports?
I did sports in San Francisco,
Hmm.
and I always knew that if ever the opportunity came along that I could leave music and do sports full time, I would take it. And it didn't happen until I came to Washington, and I did a Bullets game with Wes Unseld when he retired. And the check that I got for that one game was more than I was making 6 days a week to do 6 to 10 a.m. in WWDC.
Oh,
And I
wow.
said, something's wrong with this picture. Maybe
Hmm.
I should try to do more of this. And so I kept getting more and more assignments. And then I stopped playing records probably 1978, something like that, and got into sports full time. And a lot of commercials, a lot of narrations. Been very, very lucky. 28 years with ABC, 9 Olympic Games, winter and summer. The USFL with Paul Harning as my analyst. It was wonderful for all those 28 years until ABC shut down their sports department on radio. They don't have it
Hmm.
anymore. And
Right.
I hooked on with Maryland in 1979, doing their football games and their basketball games, all the coaches shows on TV, and then 14 years with the Washington Nationals with Ray Knight, the former MVP of the 86, 87 World Series with the
Right.
Mets. He was my partner in baseball, and it's been terrific.
Are you still doing the Nationals?
When we won the World Series 2018, I guess it was, and they pushed my partner out the door, the people that had the rights for the games had a change up top, and when that happens, they're going to bring in their own guy. And he got rid of Ray Knight, and I got a little bit pushed out of shape, and I quit. And I walked away from probably the most money I've ever made in my life, and it was the best move that I could have made because since that time they haven't won. And I figure if you're going to go out, you go out on top. How else can you go out after you win a World Series? You
Right.
can't win another one probably for a long time. And so now it's been a complete cycle, and I'm happy I made the decision.
You saw the rise of Bryce Harper. He hasn't won a World Series yet, but what do you think of his career, the way it's been?
I love the guy.
Do you?
I love the guy. They cleaned house here. They got rid of all the marquee guys they had when they had that magical year and won the World Series. Then they sold a house. They got rid of him. They got rid of Scherzer. They got rid of all these guys that had made the team the franchise it was. The
Hmm.
fans went nuts. And the next year and the following year, you couldn't tell me 20 guys in the roster. I mean, and look what's happened. They haven't won since. So, but they had a great bunch of guys with Harper and with Steven Strasburg and Ian Desmond. I mean, all these guys who were just tremendous and great interviews, great to deal with, and always accessible, always nice. I absolutely love the 14 years I spent with them.
Yeah, yeah. Another connection it's that San Francisco has was Matt Williams was their manager for.
Yeah, I love when Matt Williams came here. I kind of suggested where he could live and so forth. He was a
Hmm.
terrific guy. I mean, and why it didn't work out for him here, I have no idea. But he was a good manager, a good person, good family guy.
You also did a lot of commercials. You did a Levi's commercial with the Jefferson airplane that I thought was when I
Have
saw
you
that.
heard that? All I said was, now Jefferson Airplane. That was my part of it. And then this white Levi's commercial they did, a psychedelic version. It's still on YouTube. You can go right there and listen to it.
Your book is available in hardcover and in ebook format on Amazon in the
Yes.
US and in
Yeah.
Canada, and it's also on in Barnes and Noble in the US, and it's in hardback and ebook in on Amazon Co UK in England. And Johnny, this has been so much fun. There's so many things I would have. One
Let's,
other
let's
thing.
do it again. We'll do it
Yes,
again sometime.
we'll do
Yeah.
it again. One other thing that I didn't mention, you helped break the record Playground of My Mind by Clint Holmes.
At Holmes, yeah. We used to play tennis all the time when he was here in Washington, local guy, grew up in Silver Spring. And when they brought the record by, we started playing it. And all of a sudden, boom, it becomes a hit. And so we would hang around all the time together. Clinton and I played tennis. I played a little basketball. He sang with the Army chorus. The guy was absolutely fabulous. And it's funny that I went to Vegas a couple of times. I was out there doing a fight, doing a Sugar Ray Leonard fight.
Hmm.
So we go to see Clint Holmes. It's one of the best in-person shows in Vegas that I've ever seen. He was I think, the performer of the year like 5 times in Las Vegas. And the night I'm there, he said, I'm going to do a song that you folks may be familiar with, you may not be familiar with. So he starts off, the music starts, dun, 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 dun. So somebody in the audience yells out, "Oh, so that was your one hit." So Clint stops playing the intro and says, "How many have you had?" And the guy, "Put the spotlight on this guy." The spotlight comes right in. This guy, if he could have crawled under the table, he would have. Clint says, "I have one more hit than you have."
That's a great story. Johnny, thank
Thank
you.
you,
And
Steve.
we
Thank you.
will
This is much
definitely do
fun.
this. Yes, it has. It's been a blast. And we will definitely do this again. And can you still do, one of the old station IDs for KYA? Because I'm going to be talking to at least one person and maybe more than one that was at that Candlestick show. And so can you still do a KYA station ID? I know there was one I saw that I picked up that I'm going to actually put with this talk that says you said Music Power Radio, but do you still remember?
All I remember was KYA 1260 San Francisco, the boss of the Bay, or something like that. I don't know. It's been way too long.
That's what
I'm sorry, Avco Broadcasting of San Francisco. That's what it was.
okay. Yeah, they use the Boss of the Bay on the
Yeah.
internet.
So
Uh,
Gary Moore is continuing the tradition at KYA, right?
yes, Gary, and I know
As
Gary
a
very well.
syndicated, yeah,
I know Gary very well.
does a great job.
He
Great job.
does. It's one of the best oldie stations
Yeah.
on the internet. Have you considered maybe even a part-time gig as
Uh,
doing music again? No,
I had
or oldies?
I was
No.
part of the Cruisin' series, that Ron Jacobs put out.
Yes,
Cruisin' 64 is mine.
I love that series.
Yeah, it sounds exactly like you're listening to that guy on that station at that time, but they're all recreated. They're
Right.
not air checks.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Jacobs calls me, this is the early 1970s,
Mm-hmm.
says, how long were you in Cleveland in 1964? I said, I was there until February. I was January, February, then I went to New York. He said, okay, I'm going to feature you on Cruisin' 64. I said, I don't have any air checks. He says, no, no, no. I will come to town to Washington. Okay. I want you to think of all the cliches you used in 1964 at WHK. I said, most of them were god awful. He said, good. That's great. I want you to use those phrases and make it sound like 1964. We have the music, we have the commercials, we have the promos, we had a bulletin drop in, and we put all the things together in San Diego. And we come out with the album and then not CD and cassette. So he comes to town. He's got air checks of me from 1964. He said, "Can you try to get this kind of speed in your delivery?" I said, "I've changed since then." He said, "Well, just for this 1 hour, can you just?" So I tried to do that, and it's pretty close. And a lot of people thought that our 64 version was the best of all the cruising things.
I
And
have
let
the
me
whole
know,
series.
it's really good.
I have the whole series, and I love that series to death.
And I used all the cliches, elbow deep in the ballad bowl. We're serving up the cream of the top pop crop. I'm every month. All the cliches I use. And my grandkids say, "Are you kidding me? You got away with this stuff?" I said, "Yeah, because everybody did back in those
Every,
days.
every,
The
I
guys
was
were so identifiable, unlike today."
I was listening to Arnie Ginsberg
Yeah,
in
Arnie,
'61,
woo,
and that one just knocks
sure.
me. The Adventure Car Hop commercial on that is one that I definitely remember hearing. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
he did that every night. Anyway, Johnny, I'm going to let you go. Thank you for doing
Thank
this.
you. I
Best of
look
luck to
forward.
you. Your book is From Rock to Jock. Like I said, it's available on Kindle or in hardback, wherever you are. We'll definitely be talking again. So thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Okay, let me stop recording here.